To speak with the unhoused as we deal with the growing crisis of homelessness. Stay with us. Justiça, sei que dia vai chegar. Pra ter a certeza só basta acreditar. Justiça, sei que dia vai chegar. Pra ter a certeza só basta acreditar. Lua cheia, pensou teve esquema. Na primeira achou problema, na segunda teve dilema. Se encontra mais esquema, nunca mais viu problema. Eu mandei cortar, tem que poder marcar pra ganhar bom lugar, respeitar e preservar. Mas tocar no baracá, a gente tem que batalhar e no rap protestar para dia conquistar. Justiça, sei que dia vai chegar. Pra ter a certeza só basta acreditar. Justiça, sei que dia Justice by Kunami MC. This is Democracy Now! I'm Amy Goodman. As we turn to the second part of our special coverage of the homelessness crisis in California, amid skyrocketing housing prices and rising inequality, the number of unhoused people across America's richest state is booming. Homelessness in San Francisco has spiked at least 30% since 2017. This, according to the San Francisco Chronicle. In Oakland, it's grown by nearly 50% as more people have been forced into the streets. Encampments have popped up from Los Angeles to the Bay Area and other city centers across the state. But while advocates push for more affordable housing solutions, they say city governments have been cracking down on unhoused people instead, with increasingly punitive measures that criminalize homelessness. In San Francisco, advocates say police sweeps of their belongings happen nearly every day. Well, we recently returned from Democracy Now! Democracy Now! Recently returned from San Francisco to speak with unhoused people and their advocates about conditions there. We first met Kelly Cutler, a volunteer with the Coalition on Homelessness, under the freeway just outside of the downtown San Francisco area where a number of unhoused people had set up tents and makeshift shelters.
My name is Kelly Cutler, and we are down on Division, and this is an area where a couple years ago we had a bunch of encampments, over 300 within a few block radius.
And can you talk about who lives under the freeway here? Tell us the story of Neil.
There was this gentleman, a 70-year-old disabled veteran named Neil Taylor, and I used to come down and see him every time I would go out on outreach. He had been out here for a few years, and because he said that with his wife dying that he could no longer live in the house where she was, and he ended up dying in his tent right under the freeway over there. He was a veteran and was working on getting into housing, but it didn't come soon enough. And there was one time that he was in the emergency room, and the city was coming through and doing a sweep. And I tried to stop him. I said, "This is Neil's stuff, at least bag and tag." And they said no, and they threw all of his belongings from his music that he wrote to his walker, and they threw it into a crusher truck and demolished it.
How typical is this?
This happens every day. If you walk around, it's not one person here or there that will share this kind of experience. It's everyone.
Describe what happens, what gets taken.
The number one thing that the city tends to target are tents, because they focus on tents and visible homelessness. The mayor had put out a press release earlier this year saying that since she became mayor that the tent numbers have decreased, I think it was 34%. We said, well, does that mean that there's that many more resources that were available? Like, what happened? What the reality is that they're going through and they're taking people's tents and as well as the rest of their belongings. They will give them a misdemeanor, 647E for illegal lodging, and take their tent as evidence and leave them there.
And then what happens when they're scattered, when the encampments are broken down by the authorities? Where do they go?
Well, there isn't really anywhere to go, so people will oftentimes go to the next block, or if they're pushed out even further, they will just scatter to wherever they can be where they're not going to be harassed. People experiencing homelessness are often the the victims of violence and targeted. And it's a regular occurrence that we hear about. And so by breaking up community and support, just it would be the same for house people, where if you're breaking up protection and safety, it's people are going to get hurt.
We've come under the highway and have come up to a kind of makeshift cardboard shelter. A man has emerged from it. His name is Moon, so we're going to talk to him right now. This is your cardboard shelter?
Yeah, this is my cardboard shelter. Yes, it is.
How long have you been here?
In this particular spot?
Yeah.
Maybe a month or two. It's about the longest I've been in one spot, a long time out here. So.
And you built this?
Yeah. This isn't the first one I've built. I've actually built about 4 of them, 5 of them.
Can you talk about living out here under the freeway? Why are you here?
Found myself in a year or two ago, a couple years ago, in an unfortunate situation, and I ended up on the street. So I kind of flocked to these group of people and found a little bit of safety net here with them, and because it's the only way to really live out here in any kind of security. And I just been kind of going day by day to get everything. It's extremely difficult living on the streets, being homeless, especially, and I don't know if it's different elsewhere, but here it is. So just at the moment trying to get things together so I get off the streets.
Where were you born?
I was born here. It's very odd being homeless in the city you were born in.
How long have you been homeless?
About 2 years.
Do you see yourself getting out of this situation? What could help you get out?
I do see myself getting out of the situation. It's once you get into the situation, it's extremely difficult to get out. It's kind of like a pit trap. They'll wake you up at 4:30 in the morning every morning for 2 weeks.
Who's they? The police?
The police, DPW, people that work for the city. They'll wake you up every morning for 4:30 in the morning, and if you don't move fast enough, they'll take your things, and then you have to get your things all over again.
Can you get them back?
No, you can't. They say you can, but you can't. I have several friends. All of my friends out here have tried to go get their things back, and never, ever have I seen anybody successful.
What kind of services are provided for you to help you get out of this situation?
Well, they supposedly have navigation out here, but that they can take you and give you last time they offered me a 7-day stay, which